What do you make of all of this? I mean, this is a historic moment and, you know, a huge relief to see power sharing restored. But there's got to be some concern, hasn't there, about a nationalist leader who, quite frankly, don't have the same strategic interests for Great Britain as we do?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a huge amount of relief when it comes to the return of Stormont, because there's been 2 years of major disruption with no political input, meaning there's been an absolute stalemate when it comes to public sector pay and health and social care waiting lists. So while there is massive relief in government and also across the country that we do have a functioning devolved executive in Northern Ireland, there's also a lot of concern because it's the first time we've seen a nationalist First Minister take office. And within just a few hours of taking office, we saw Michelle O'Neill float the idea of a referendum in the next 10 years. Asked about the prospect, she described the next decade as a decade of opportunity. So it really is a slightly concerning time for the integrity of the union, and it's almost paradoxical for the government because the deal that was signed was all around safeguarding the union. That was the title of the deal. And the entire command paper that sets out the deal is all around. It's really centred around Northern Ireland's place in the union and how integral it is. But obviously, with that deal, that allowed the executive to be functioning again, which brought in Michelle O'Neill as the First Minister. So it's slightly paradoxical because that deal, which is really focused on protecting the integrity of the union, also comes with it a First Minister whose long-term goal really is to reunite Northern Ireland with the Republic of Ireland. So it is a slightly concerning position, but it's also one that the government's really not keen to talk about. Rishi Sunak's very much keen to stress the role that he played in safeguarding this deal, getting the deal across the line and really getting Brexit done. So the government's very keen to steer clear of talking about any prospect of a referendum. And we're much more likely, in his meeting with Michelle O'Neill later today, we're much more likely to see really optimistic language and sort of warm words between the two sides.
Yeah, but Millie, I mean, all of this going on, you say the government aren't keen to talk about any of the, you know, worries that they might privately have, and yet publicly Sir Michael Fallon, a former Conservative Defence Secretary, and Lord Robertson, a former Labour Defence Secretary, to two people who held this post, on the front of the papers this morning, having written for a think tank saying that they are no friend of the United Kingdom. Sinn Féin.
Absolutely. Obviously, Sinn Féin's goal at the moment is to break Northern Ireland away from the UK. So while Michelle O'Neill, when she took office, she said she's looking to serve everyone and she's also looking to heal the wounds of the past. So she was using quite warm language when it came to taking office, and she's taken the role very seriously. Obviously, you can't ignore the fact that Sinn Féin is a nationalist party, and it's the first time we've seen this. So it's an almost unprecedented situation we're in at Stormont. But obviously, the return to power sharing is a good thing for the union. We've got Michelle O'Neill standing alongside Emma Little-Pengelly, who's from the DUP. So that, I think, a lot of people will see, and unionists will see as a positive thing, that we've got a return to power sharing. But yeah, it's hard to ignore Sinn Féin's ultimate identity as a party.
Yeah, but it's all about these checks and balances, and Emma Little-Pengelly is a member of the DUP, and therefore she shares the post with Michelle O'Neill, does she not?
Yeah, so the two leaders, while we've got a First Minister and a Deputy First Minister, the two of them have equal power, and one minister can't make a decision without the support of the other one. However, the symbolism of the First Minister being the First Minister rather than the Deputy obviously is important. It's the first time we've seen a nationalist hold this post in Stormont's history.